Welcome to Birmingham, and more importantly, welcome to Villa Park. Now, this stadium has seen some ups and downs, including being relegated from the Premier League back in 2016 and having not won a major trophy since the 80s when they won the European Cup. And the question we're asking is, can I do any worse than the current Villa managers? Let's find out. Right then, guys, welcome back to another rebuild. Now, this time we're going to be doing Aston Villa. Aston Villa are a team that historically have been one of the big clubs in English football, winning the Champions League, or back as it used to be called, the European Cup. But they haven't actually won a major trophy since 1982. We don't count the Carabao Cup, as nobody counts the Carabao Cup as a major trophy. But 1982 is the last time they won a major trophy. So that, as of right now, is 40 years ago. And our job over the next 5 seasons will be to deliver a major trophy. So that is the league, European competition, or the FA Cup. They're what we're counting as major trophies. If we win the Carabao Cup, it doesn't count, and it's a failure if that's all we win. But hey, let's have a look at what we've got going on. So in terms of the squad and in terms of the contracts we've got expiring, Ashley Young is probably the key one, but there's not many actually expire this year. And in terms of the finances, we've actually been given £30 million to spend, which is quite nice. So there is a chance to improve the team here. Obviously, what is going to happen, I think, is we're probably going to have to sell a few players. But, we'll have a look. I haven't done the tactics yet, but we'll have a look and see who goes and who comes in. And then what we'll do is we'll bring you back on the eve of season 1, on the eve of our game with Newcastle, and tell you who left, who came in, and where we think we're going to get to this season. Now, it will all depend on how pre-season goes. All the board want us to do is become established in the Premier League, because obviously it was only back in 2019 that Aston Villa got back into the Premier League. So let's see how we get on, and let's see who we can bring in over the course of the summer. All right, so we are right on the eve of our first game with Newcastle. Now, we are playing a 5-2-1-2 formation. Now, it's based off, it's a tactic that I come up with, and it's based off the Phil Parkinson tactic that he uses with my club, Wrexham. Now, the idea is we are extremely disciplined, and we get back into shape, and when we attack, we use our wingers or our wing backs to really create havoc. So we're going to see how it goes. I'm pretty confident, though, when you look at you've got Luis and McGinn in the holding midfield role, Digne and Callum Chambers on the wings, and then Coutinho, Watkins and Ings up front. Really, really confident with the way they're looking. In terms of who we've brought in them, so actually over the course of the summer, if you include the deals that happened before we took over, we spent £104 million. However, we're looking at the 2 deals that we've done. Joachim Anderson from Crystal Palace for £24.5 million and Jorge Coquena from Villarreal for £19 million have come in. In terms of the players that have left, let's have a look. So Bogard has gone on loan to Exeter. Morgan Sanson's gone on loan to Crystal Palace. Frederick Gilbert's gone to Brighton for £4.5 million. Marvellous Nakamba went for £21 million to Brighton, and DJ Hampton Sturridge went to Blackpool for £23,500. Okay, so in terms of predictions, the Premier League are looking for us to finish, or predicting we will finish around about 11th with 200 to 1 to win the league. So let's see how we get on. In our first season, we've got Newcastle up front. Obviously, there's no European competitions this year, so hopefully we should be able to stay relatively fresh, and then we'll see how much money we can invest back into the team next year. Let's see how we go. Okay, season 1 is in the books. Let's have a look how we got on. So in the Premier League, we finished 4th. Absolutely amazing. We were predicted 11th. So to get Champions League football at the first time of asking, it's brilliant. Danny Ings bagged 32 goals, but we did concede, I think it was 50 over the course of the season, 52 goals. In fact, if I'm right, we had the worst defence in the top 8, but we scored loads. So, it balances it out, but we've got to get better defensively. But the big news, we have delivered the first trophy in Aston Villa's most recent history. 40 years without a trophy, and I've done it in one. Steven Gerrard, Unai Emery, get away with you. Because do you know what? I've done what you couldn't in a season. We delivered the FA Cup. We played Arsenal in the final. We won 3-1. So absolutely great. So we've got Champions League football. We've got a trophy that we wanted. A major trophy in the cabinet for the first time in 4 decades. Absolutely great. Now what we've got to do is look to rebuild the squad. And see who leaves and who stays. We have got a couple of transfer bids in, I think, already. Have we? Let's have a look. No. I thought we did, but we don't. I mustn't. I mean, there are players we're looking at. And so if you look at the transfer market at the moment, if we have a look who we're going to look to bring in, so we've got a nice 50 million to spend. Fabio Carvalho's on there. Eric Garcia is there as well, and James Ward-Prowse tends to be quite cheap after the first season, so we'll probably look to bring him in. So it's going to be an exciting summer. Come back on the eve of Season 2, and we'll see who we signed and who we let go. Okay, so we're on the eve of Season 2, where you've got the Charity Shield, or the Community Shield as it's now called, up first, but let's show you who left and who came in. So since the season began, we have recouped £24.5 million. Boubacar Kamara has gone to Bayern Munich for 18.7 million. As soon as they came in for him, his head was turned. There wasn't a lot I could do. Okay. All of our transfer deals were done at the back end of last season. I personally don't like leaving it too late. So we signed Noah Okafor for 12 million from Red Bull Salzburg. Divock Origi is back in the Premier League. The absolute legend, 6 million quid. Kyle Walker-Peters from Southampton for 19.25. We got Eric Garcia for a pinch at 25 million. And Ward-Prowse, 22.5, and Carvalho, 16.25. So we had, in total, we went big this summer with those fees there. And we have now got, we've wiped out our transfer budget, but luckily the owners, like Okafor, we didn't sign him, our director of football did. So, you know, that has balanced out quite well. So in terms of our season ahead, we've got Man City in the Community Shield at Wembley Stadium that we played Brighton, Arsenal, Leeds, Palace and Wolves. We lost 4 of our first 5 league games last season and still finished 4th. So, you know, this season could, I mean, that show you what I mean. So there you go. We lost 4 of our first 5 league games. Newcastle, West Ham, Liverpool and Leeds. I mean, Leeds beat us 6-0, which is shocking. So they are 5 winnable games based on the players we brought in, based on our performance last season. And in terms of where the media expect us to finish, they are expecting us to finish 8th, 50-1 to win the Premier League this year. So who knows? In terms of the board, we've got to reach at least the knockout stages of the Champions League and record a top half finish in the league. Confident we'll do both. Confident we'll also get to the last stages of the FA Cup. Remember, we are defending the FA Cup. It'd be great to win it. Let's see how we got on then in the second season. See if we can build on that 4th place finish and see how we get on in Europe. Here we go. All right then. So season 2 is in the bag and we finished 3rd, 73 points. And the devastating thing is, until end of February, start of March, we were top. We just dropped away. We just couldn't keep it going. We really hit the skids. This is kind of the area. So actually about in February then, this is where we lost our hold on that league. Up until that, we'd done so well. Danny Ings, 46 goals, 48 games. Noah Okafor in his first season got 16 assists. Philip Coutinho got 11. And Ollie Watkins bagged 12 goals over the course of the season. In terms of our defensive football, so we had to improve it. Only conceded 43 goals in the league this year, so much better. Did concede 62 overall. And in terms of our performance in the competitions, we reached the last 16 of the Champions League, knocked out in the 4th round of the FA Cup and the quarterfinal of the Carabao. But we did win the Community Shield. So, you know, right. So we're in the Champions League again. We need to try and do what we did this year, but do it for the whole season. We do it for the whole season, we'll win the league. And that is what is so key. I mean, you can see the league positions here. We were first. I'd like to be able to see that in a bigger, if I can. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can, unfortunately. No, it doesn't look like I can, which is a real shame. It's not in club info, is it? But you can see that we were first all through this part of the season, and then it just second, and we went down to fifth at one point. Must have been on results. I didn't even notice that. But anyway, this is the period of the season we're focusing on. It was so good. We were top for so long. We've just got to do it again next year. So, again, we're going to go off. We're going to do this summer. We're going to look where we need to improve. And we're going to come back and we're going to see how we improve it. What players we've signed, who we've let go. And then look to win the Premier League in the third season. I'm sure we can do it. I'm sure we can push again anyway and be as close as we were this year, because we were only... I mean, we finished 15 points behind, but we weren't that. It was never that far of a distance. We just didn't win enough towards the end of the year. But still, we'll see how we get on next season. But anyway, we'll come back at the start of season 3, go through who we've signed, look at the schedule, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So let's find out who we signed. Okay, so season 3 is about to start. We get underway against Crystal Palace. We have got such a tough start. Palace at home, Liverpool away, United at home, Arsenal away. Those 3 games back to back. Ridiculous. The FA need to give their heads a wobble. But let's have a look at the transfers, who we've brought in, who we've let go, and what we've done. So we've actually had £79 million of transfers going out. Which is massive. Paulo Bernardo left for 8.5 million. Morgan Sanson's gone out on loan. Courtney Hawes 2.8. Dendoncker 6 million. Callum Chambers 10 million. We sold Conser for 21 million. And this season, with all that gone out, all I've done is I've brought Eduardo Camavinga on loan from Real Madrid. And he has agreed to sign permanently next season, which means all of next season's transfer budget is gone by signing Camavinga. In terms of last season, so we also recouped some money at the end. Ben Christening left in June. And the only player we brought in at the back end of last year was Gonçalo Guedes from Wolves for 59 million. So they gave us a budget of 62. We signed him, and then obviously we sold all these to fund this. So it's been a really productive pre-season. We have got a really good team. Couple of suspensions that we've got to just kind of juggle around a little bit going into that first game. But I'm really confident we can, again, push top 4 and do even better in the Champions League this year round. So, big season. It's season number 3, halfway through the rebuild. If we start to stumble here, the last 2 seasons will be tough. So we've got to keep pushing on. Let's see how we get on in season 3. And then we'll have a look ahead to season 4 and what transfers and what improvements we need to make it into the squad. All right, then. Another season in the bag, and we've again achieved a top 4 finish, again qualifying for the Champions League. We just about got there on the last day of the season. It did look like Chelsea were going to pip us, but we managed to hold on. What has been slightly more impressive this year is Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings have both scored over 20 goals, and yet we still only finished here. Let's have a quick look then at the full table. We conceded 49 goals, so better than we have done. We scored 75. We did sign Anatoly Trubin. He's only 22 years old. But when he wasn't as good as Emilio Martinez once Martinez kind of got going. But maybe for next season. So we got season 4. The big one is that Eduardo Camavinga is going to be our big summer signing. And I'm really hopeful we'll be able to keep the rest of the team happy. So in terms of competition-wise, we got knocked out by Bayern Munich. We lost in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, which was quite good. And we got to the final of the Carabao Cup, which is neither here nor there. 2 seasons ago, then, we need to close this gap. It's always running around 14, 15 points between us and top. So even when we finished second in that first season, so we need to kind of do something that's going to get us there. This is the season we're going to go all out to win the league, and we're going to see what happens. I'm really hopeful we can get this over the line. And then we will obviously be able to see what happens in the final season. We've got 2 seasons to go. Let's come back when we've done our summer transfer deals and see what the lay of the land is then. All right, so we're about to start our 4th season in charge of Aston Villa. The rebuild it's going all right. We're top 4 every season. We're champions, and we're getting to the knockout stage of the Champions League. So in terms of what we're achieving, we're achieving what we set out to, especially as we've won a major domestic trophy, which is something that, Aston Villa have been starved of. We'd like more, but the rebuild's not going badly. So in terms of transfers for this season then, 13.25 million brought in. Aaron Ramsey's gone to Everton. Sinisalo has gone to Watford. Cameron Archer, one of the youth players, left. Divock Origi just never got the game time, but we got 10 million for him, which is a profit of £3 million on what we spent on him. And then the rest are youth players. Eduardo Camavinga joined us on a full-time basis, which was agreed last summer. And the two big players that we brought in over the summer were Ferran Torres and Leroy Sané. Now, yes, it says 51 million, potentially rising to 65. However, we have only paid 24 million for each up front. The rest is on installments. So this season only costs us 48 million for both. Absolute steal, which, I'm really, really happy with. Yes, we're going big on money, but the reason we're going big on money is because we've got 2 seasons left. We're in the Champions League and we need to start competing. Yes, it's not realistic that a club would spend the amount of money we are every season and not try and recoup that back. But I don't care. It's Football Manager. There has got to be elements where it isn't realistic. And let's be honest, Camavinga is not going to Aston Villa. He's not going to Aston Villa on a day out. He's never going there to live and play football. So that's who we've brought in terms of this season. We're once again by the league predicted to finish 8th, but we're only 33-1 to win the league. So if you look, those odds are coming down every single season. And for the first time in this simulation, we don't play Man City in the first 3 games of the season. Instead, we've got Liverpool, great holders of the league. But we've also got Norwich, Southampton, Middlesbrough, Fulham and Wolves, who we should beat repeatedly. Past winners of this, Liverpool are back-to-back champions. Back-to-back champions. So we have got to do something very special to beat them in that game. That is all I'm really going to say. But I'm pretty confident we can do it. We'll see how the season goes. We've got 2 seasons left. 2 seasons to win the league or win the Champions League. Bear in mind that in our Everton rebuild, we won 3 European trophies. So which one is more successful? Certainly domestically, Aston Villa has been more successful. But in terms of European football, you could argue that Everton has been more successful, even if 2 of those were at a lower level. But anyway, we'll decide that after the 5th season. All right then, so season 4 is in the bag, and honestly, it's the first season that we've just not achieved anything. Finished 9th in the league, knocked out in the last round of 16 by Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, knocked out in the 3rd round of the FA Cup by West Ham, and the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup by Spurs. We achieved nothing. Top scorer was Ferran Torres with 18 goals in the league. He actually scored 11 goals in the Champions League, which in itself is, again, very, very impressive. But again, if we look at our overall season, we conceded 64 goals. In fact, it's the first season we've just not scored any goals. Really? 66 goals over the course of the season. And I think that's where we've kind of survived. We need a goalkeeper. So I'm happy with the rest of the team. We need a goalkeeper. That's what I'm going to go out for. We've got 1 season left. Now, there is no European football this season. We only have domestic. I want another trophy. We're going to go for a goalkeeper. We've got the attack we want, the midfield we want, and the defence. So we're going to go and try and sign a world-class keeper. We're going to spend all of our money on him and see if that goalie can make the difference in getting us the title, another FA Cup, or just a top 4 finish. It would be great to finish top 4 out of 5 seasons. It'd be a really good rebuild. Right, let's see how we get on, and I will show you who we sign and who we let go before the start of Season 5. Right, Season 5 is now ready to go. We are on the eve, and we start our season with the Europa Conference League match. I didn't think we were in Europe this season. My mistake, but we are. In terms of signings, we brought in Xavi Simons is the big summer signing. 43.5 million from PSV Eindhoven. I'm amazed he stayed at Eindhoven as long as he did, but he was still there. In terms of players going out, Matty Cash left. who was our big first team, and Douglas Luiz left on a free. But Matty Cash is the big one to leave for just under 13.5 million. We also brought in Mohamed Simakan at the end of last season for 45 million pounds. So again, we've gone big, and we are looking like a team that can challenge again for the top four. We've had 3 out of 4 seasons in the top 4. We don't want to finish this without getting back there. We've got an all right opening to the season as well. We play Chelsea the opening day. Then we've got Burnley, Southampton, Man United, who we seem to have a fairly decent record against, I believe. We've won 4 or lost 4. So it's, actually having a 50-50 record against United isn't bad. Chelsea, the same. Let's have a look at what we've got on then. And Chelsea is identical. We've won 4, lost 4. So, and how random, scored 15 and conceded 15. So, what we have done this year to make sure our first team are ready for first team football is we have played them in every one of these games. So they have played every game of pre-season. We've not changed the team. We want them ready to go for the European Conference League third qualifier. And then Chelsea. In terms of where we're expected to finish, let's have a look at the media prediction. They're predicting us again to finish 8th, again 33-1. So I'm wondering if they kind of think last season was a bit of a blip for us to finish what we did. But who knows? Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's find out how we get on in Season 5. Can we deliver another major trophy? If we get a European trophy, European Conference League trophy this season, that would be brilliant. If we don't and we get top 4, then I'm happy. But all in all, this has been a successful rebuild so far. Let's see how we get on in Season 5. All right, then, Season 5 is in the bag. It's in the record books. Let's have a look exactly how we got on. In terms of the league, then, we finished 2nd. Actually, I'm really quite happy with that result because we finished 8th last season. To bounce back and finish 2nd. There is just something about Liverpool in this game. They are so overpowered that even when it's close, like you've got 1 or 2 points in it going into the last 8 games, they just seem to pull away from you. So Liverpool are ridiculously overpowered. I don't think that will be the case come Football Manager 2024. Certainly if it carries on the way they're going this season. But even Man City don't have that level of our overpoweredness that Liverpool do. Europa Conference League, we finished runners-up. We lost to Sporting Lisbon in the final, and we lost in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. So I couldn't deliver another domestic trophy. But what I did deliver over 5 seasons is I turned Aston Villa from mid-table, lower league, lower finished team, lower half finished team, into a top 4 consistent team. We had Champions League for 3 years, only not having it in the first and the last season. We had Europe for 4 out of 5 seasons. I can't complain with what we've had as a result of this rebuild. It's gone really well. In terms of our team then this year, Fernan Torres again getting 19 goals. Gonçalo Guedes on the wing got 22 goals and 12 assists. Xavi Simons, who signed in the summer, 16 assists. And James Ward-Prowse, 13 goals, 15 assists from central midfield is impressive. However, can we just point this guy out? Ollie Watkins played 56 games this season, and he scored 61 goals. 61 goals, 32 in the league, and 20 in the Europa Conference League, as well as 5 in the EFL and 4 in the FA Cup. We can't say we haven't scored goals just defensively. Similar to the Everton one, we've been a little bit all over the shop. However, that is it. That is the 5-season rebuild done. Aston Villa are now a top 4 team challenging for the Premier League and European football every single season, with some fantastic players to move them forward. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm thinking that we're going to venture outside of the Premier League for the next one, but that was yet to be decided. Anyway, hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future content, and I will see you in our next video. All the best, guys.